Today, I'm going to share with you our very first startup that we ever created back in 1998. Technically, there were three startups going at the same time: redwagon.com, pedalcars.com, which was a joint venture, and Nation's Guide. But redwagon.com was my first, and you always remember your first. Not technically my first startup, since I had already had nearly a dozen businesses by this point, but my first incubator startup that I knew I would develop to sell. I had been registering domain names in 1998 as a lot of great names were still available then. I had a green wagon that was mine when I was a kid, and in fact, it was my father's when he was a kid. Actually, it was made by my father's uncle, who was a blacksmith for the B&O Railroad, for his 4th birthday. It would go on to be a wagon for my kids to play with. So I had looked up greenwagon.com and registered it, but also knew that no one would ever look up Green Wagon, and knew that Red Wagon was what everyone would be looking up. I looked up redwagon.com and it was already registered, but it was getting ready to expire. I waited for it on the morning it expired and snatched it up around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A few hours later, I got a call from Oracle. They wanted it, but because they were West Coast, they were 3 hours too late to the game. They offered me $10,000, which I declined. They came up higher, but I honestly don't recall what it was. I have no idea what they wanted it for, but I had plans for it. I had founded my software company in 1994, but had brought an old friend from high school into my business as a partner in 1998. He reached out to Berlin Flyer Wagons in Berlin, Ohio, to talk about selling their wagons. I'm guessing you're wondering, why not Radio Flyer? Well, I owned redwagon.com. Radio Flyer was involved with redwagons.com. And besides, Radio Flyer wagons were made in China, while Berlin Flyer wagons were made by the Amish in Berlin, Ohio, and were, in my opinion, a far superior wagon. The quality of these wagons was amazing. I spent about 2 weeks getting the website ready, the design, the products, the credit card processing, and all of the little intricacies to make it perfect. We were polished. Within the first year of operation, we were the largest dealer of Berlin Flyer wagons, outselling even the entire Ace Hardware chain. We would send our orders to Berlin Flyer via fax. That's right, fax. They were old school, but they were very organized. In the 5 or 6 years we dealt with them, they never made a mistake with an order or shipping. They would drop ship the wagons for us. Our website sold all wagons with free shipping. We quickly learned that free shipping was the key. No one wants to go through a checkout process filling out their name and address just to find out what shipping charges are. Plastering the words free shipping all over the site made it clear that the price you see is the price you pay. There also wasn't sales tax unless the person was ordering it in the same state we were in, because there was a moratorium on sales tax during this time. There were various analytics tools back then where we could get guesstimates of how well we were doing versus our Radio Flyer competitor, redwagons.com, and every time we checked, we were getting anywhere from 1.5 times to double the traffic they were. My guess is Radio Flyer was checking this too, because they sent us a nasty bullying letter back in 2001 threatening a lawsuit if we didn't hand over the redwagon.com domain name. Yeah, they were demanding that we just gave it to them for free. Today, this is what's known as reverse domain hijacking. Basically the accusation of cyber squatting when it actually isn't true, and there is now a lot of legal precedence for this, and companies can be sued for doing this. What Radio Flyer didn't know is I lived in a neighborhood where everyone was lawyers except for 3 doctors. Seriously, the guy on the corner was a state senator, but nevertheless a lawyer. The guy across the street was a dentist, and next door to him was an endocrinologist, and behind me was a heart surgeon. Everyone else was an attorney. And I'm talking a lot of attorneys. Yeah, I was the oddball, an internet guy. Next door to me was the senior partner of the 2nd largest law firm in the state, and I was very good friends with him and his wife. I walked next door, explained to him what was going on. He gave it to someone in his firm that specialized in intellectual property, and they hired a lawyer who had previously headed up the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to run with this. He charged us $2,500 to write Radio Flyer a letter that, in a nutshell, explained to Radio Flyer that we would in turn file a lawsuit against them that we would definitely win. The letter was amazing. It was very bold in its tone. We never heard from Radio Flyer again. Our attorneys told us that they felt Radio Flyer's attorneys confirmed that the details of the letter were true and that it would have terrible consequences for them. The operation of the business was easy and very profitable. Our office manager would process these orders every morning, which would take her all of about 5 minutes, since all she had to do was print the orders off from the e-commerce site and fax them to Berlin Flyer Wagons. A little later that same day, we would get a fax with the tracking numbers, and she would put these into the e-commerce system so that each person could track their order. About 35 to 45% of every sale was profit, depending on how far the wagon had to ship, since we were offering free shipping. We sold redwagon.com in 2004 for a nice sum of money to a company that actually sold Radio Flyer wagons. I often miss these times. Both redwagon.com and our other startup, pedalcars.com, both toy companies, were fun and easy businesses to run. I also miss dealing with Art Yoder of Berlin Flyer Wagons. He was truly the nicest business owner. He has since retired and sold his business. I only hope that the new owners are following his lead on quality. I'm not so sure redwagon.com and pedalcars.com would work in today's age. These were nostalgic toys that were meant for outside, and so many kids are stuck to video games these days. And let's face it, Amazon is where all sales take place these days. And you might think we could just be an Amazon seller. The margins would have been so thin if we had to not only share profits with Amazon, but also pay their warehouse storage rates. It honestly just wouldn't be worth it. I love Amazon. Who doesn't? It's nearly instant gratification. I order something today and I have it in 2 days, and lately, most things come the following day. That's hard not to love, but it has also put out of business nearly every e-commerce site because no one takes the time to go buy from a mom and pop site where they may have to wait a week to get the item. I definitely am not trying to discourage anyone from starting an e-commerce site. While Amazon has made it more difficult, they definitely haven't made it impossible. You simply have to be more creative these days. What do I mean? Well, if you plan on buying a product from Alibaba or AliExpress to resell, you're probably not going to do that well because there are 100 or more other sellers selling that product on Amazon. But if you are the manufacturer of a product, you're in control of the pricing, and even more so if you don't have competition or you and your competition's products are unique from each other. For example, a woodworker who makes furniture such as coffee tables and puts epoxy resin in them. That will totally sell on an e-commerce site, and competition doesn't matter because each product is its own work of art. And you might consider that a luxury item, and that being said, luxury items do well on e-commerce sites as well. Another example is I had a friend who was having her gallbladder removed, and I bought this plushie from Amazon. Yes, it's a gallbladder with a zipper that has gallstones inside. Isn't that cool and funny? Well, this is the perfect example of a unique product that can do well on an e-commerce site and on Amazon, since you don't have to worry about competitors undercutting your price. Pick a unique product, a luxury product, a work of art, or something you manufacture, and you can totally rock the space. And there are still other products that can do well. Products that have some sort of demand, and no matter how much competition, the demand exceeds the availability. I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you think would work for e-commerce in today's age. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button while you're at it, and the bell notification so that you can be notified when new videos come out. And let's all go make bazillions together. Have a great day.